decades, explicit lyrics in rap music have caused rappers legal trouble. Rhymes about murder, gang violence, or an artist's sexual conquest have been used as evidence to prove guilt, persuade a jury, or deny bond for years. More recently, prosecutors are using the music of 6ix9ine in court. All of this has the hip-hop community asking, are rappers' lyrics regularly being used against them in court? Well, using lyrics as evidence against a defendant goes back to 1990. The year before 2 Live Crew dropped their controversial album, As Nasty As They Wanna Be. Their sexually charged bars brought the obscenity wars of the late 1980s to a head. If you're unfamiliar with the obscenity wars, they date back to the late 1980s, when the wife of former Vice President Al Gore helped launch the Parent Music Resource Center. As a part of the PMRC, Tipper Gore testified to the Senate in 1985 that music should be labeled to provide a warning to prospective purchasers of sexually explicit or other potentially offensive content. As a result, many record companies agreed to start putting parental guidance, explicit lyrics labels on offensive music. 5 years later in 1990, a federal judge in Florida ruled that As Nasty As They Wanna Be violated community obscenity laws for its controversial sexually explicit lyrics.
2 Live Crew went on trial in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on Tuesday, charged with singing obscene songs for paying adults during a nightclub performance last June.
Uncle Luke, Brother Marquis, the late Fresh Kid Ice, and local record store owner was subsequently arrested on misdemeanor obscenity charges for their involvement in the performance and sale of the album. They were then freed without bond. Because prosecutors struggled to properly decipher 2 Live Crew's lyrics in court, the jury deemed their music as art, and all 3 were found not guilty. Their case opened the doors for true freedom of expression in hip-hop. However, the case also set a precedent that leaves artists' lyrics vulnerable to scrutiny within the judicial system. In 1993, Snoop Dogg and his bodyguard, McKinley Malik Lee, were arrested and charged with murder, voluntary manslaughter, conspiracy to commit assault with a firearm, and being an accessory after the murder of Philip Waldemariam. During Snoop's trial in 1996, prosecutors referred to the lyrics from his song, Murder Was the Case. The song depicts Snoop being convicted for committing a homicide. Despite lyrics being used in court and Deputy District Attorney Robert Grace playing off the lyrics from Murder Was the Case in closing arguments, a jury later found Snoop not guilty and acquitted the rapper of all charges.
Jury in above entitled action finding defendant Calvin Brodus not guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
Fast forward to the early 2000s, when Shyne shot a gun inside Manhattan's Club New York in 1999. Injuring 3 people. At a pretrial hearing for Shyne's attempted murder charge in 2001, prosecutors wanted to put the rapper's lyrics on trial. However, a judge refused to rule on whether lyrics from Shyne's 2000 self-titled debut album could be used against him during cross-examination. Prosecutor Matthew Bogdanos put emphasis on Shyne's violent lyrics, including a track called Let Me See Your Hands, in which Shyne raps,
"Gun cocking and popping, somebody call Cochran."
In a 2004 MTV News report, Shyne insisted that crimes he boasted about on his songs like Bad Boys and Bang were strictly fiction.
This is art. If you look at my album, I have I guess a disclaimer that says, this is art inspired by my life.
While his lyrics weren't used in his trial, he was handed a 10-year prison sentence. While prosecutors tried to bring Shyne's lyrics to court and were ultimately unsuccessful, prosecutors in other cases were able to use artists' lyrics to prove guilt. Back in 2012, Boosie Badass faced first-degree murder charges for allegedly hiring Michael Marlowe Mike Louding to kill a man named Terry Boyd. During Boosie's trial, forensic experts testified that Boosie recorded his BG-assisted song, 187, which is police code for homicide, 2 hours before Boyd's death. Less than 10 minutes after Boyd was shot, Boosie reportedly recorded lines for the song Body Bag. During the closing arguments in Boosie's trial, Assistant District Attorney Dana Cummings reiterated the evidence against Boosie, including phone recordings that linked him to the crime. The prosecution even replayed the a cappella version of 187 and Body Bag. Despite the evidence, Boosie Badass was found not guilty of first-degree murder. Boosie wasn't the only artist behind bars whose songs were presented in court. Rapper tay-k was only 16 when he was involved in the fatal shooting of 21-year-old Ethan Walker in July of 2016. He was arrested days later. Later that fall, tay-k was released from juvenile custody and placed on house arrest. He removed his ankle bracelet and fled to New Jersey in March of 2017, then hit the studio to create his now viral song, The Race. During his bond hearing last year, a judge cited The Race to highlight other crimes tay-k was suspected of, including additional robbery and capital murder charges. The song totes bars like,
I was trying to beat a case, but I ain't beat that case, bitch, I did the race.
Judge Wayne Salvant was troubled that tay-k created a song called The Race, which bragged about his legal situation and running from the law. Subsequently, the judge denied tay-k's bond. In a more recent case, YNW Melly was arrested in February for allegedly shooting and killing two of his friends and fellow artists, YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie, and covering it up as a drive-by shooting in October of 2018. After his arrest for double murder, many wondered if his breakout single, Murder on My Mind, was a lyrical confession.
I got murder on my mind.
However, the song, which tells the story of Melly accidentally killing a friend of his, was written in 2017, before the death of Sack Chaser and Juvie. In 2018, during a hearing for violating his probation, the state attorney reportedly read the lyrics to Murder on My Mind aloud in the courtroom. In a No Jumper interview, Melly spoke about how the song could follow him for the rest of his life. They brung up my song Murder on My Mind in court and sent me back, a few others too. However, a judge has not yet indicated that YNW Melly's lyrics may be used against him in a court of law. And 6ix9ine's lyrics have come back to haunt him as well. After being arrested in November of 2018 on racketeering and firearms charges for his role in the Nine Trey Gangsta Bloods, 6ix9ine took a plea agreement in February. Recently, the rapper testified against reputed Nine Trey Gangsta Bloods Anthony Ellison and Aljamir Mack. A judge overseeing the racketeering trial against the two men ruled that 6ix9ine's music videos could be shown in court. The judge allowed prosecutors to play snippets of 6ix9ine's music videos, Gummo, Kooda, and Billy, for jurors to prove their case against Anthony Ellison and Aljamir Mack. For Kooda, 6ix9ine, who in court documents is referred to as CW2, which means cooperating witness, testified that the lyrics refer to the fact that 6ix9ine and other members of Nine Trey were real gang members, as opposed to rapping about gang activity. For example, the lyrics of CW2, who is 6ix9ine, were allowed to be addressed in court. N-word running, out they mouth, but they never pop out. Mobbed out, ops out, we gonna show what we about. All my N-words really gangbang means in sum and substance that the rival rapper would talk about committing violence, but would not actually commit such acts, whereas CW2 and members of Nine Trey would actually commit acts of violence. As for the Billy video, prosecutors would discuss how the song's title is a direct reference to Nine Trey. 6ix9ine is further expected to testify that the lyrics were in response to certain members of Nine Trey, including Mack, as well as other non-Nine Trey gang members, including the other rapper involved in the April 21st Barclays Center shooting, who challenged the authenticity of 6ix9ine's gang membership, and the propriety of other Nine Trey members associated with 6ix9ine, and focusing more on the rap industry instead of Nine Trey priorities. And for the Gummo video, 6ix9ine will testify that the video was filmed in front of a building that 6ix9ine considered to be a headquarter of sorts of Nine Trey. 6ix9ine is expected to testify that the lyrics of Gummo refer in part to an ongoing dispute that 6ix9ine had with a rival rapper who was the victim of a November 2017 assault. So prosecutors can use lyrics against artists and to strengthen testimony, but should they be allowed to? The debate over using lyrics in court of law has been ongoing for nearly 25 years. In 2014, the American Civil Liberties Union counted at least 18 cases in which rap lyrics were used against people charged with crimes. In 80% of those cases, prosecutors presented the lyrics as evidence in court. Aspiring rappers like New Jersey artist Vontae Skinner, who was convicted of attempted murder in 2008, had his conviction overturned when the New Jersey State Supreme Court found that reading his violent rap lyrics during his trial unfairly prejudiced the jury. But the legal system has been inconsistent on this point. In 2015, rising Brooklyn rapper Rod Diggs was convicted of murder, weapons possession, racketeering, robbery, and drug offenses connected to his leadership in the Brooklyn-based gang murderous Mad Dog Bloods. He allegedly described real-life murders in his rap lyrics, which prosecutors used in the case against him. Rod Diggs appealed the conviction on the grounds that music and promotional videos related to his rap music career were erroneously admitted into evidence. However, the U.S. Court of Appeals upheld his sentence by referring to his featured verse on Waka Flocka's Live by the Gun.
Ask my nigga uncle in my murder with the chopper. Nigga shot me 5 times, 2 days later the nigga died.
While some artists were able to beat their charges, there is no telling which direction YNW Melly's or 6ix9ine cases will go. Prosecutors may try to pull the same moves that they've done to artists who've been in their shoes, like Snoop Dogg and Boozy Badass. Artists should beware. What do you think about rappers' lyrics being used against them in a court of law? Let us know in the comments below.